What precisely is the nature of the violence that we're seeing today in South Sudan? Is it political or is it ethnic?
It's primarily military and ethnic. Events have moved very, very quickly in the last 4 days, and I'm afraid news has not been able to keep up with events. The reports I'm receiving today are that Bor town in the very south of Jonglei state has been taken, and that 2 towns between Bor and Juba, about 150 kilometers to the south, Tarakeka and Mangala, have also been taken. Divisional commanders who have apparently allied with Riek Machar, the former vice president. If these 3 divisions move on Juba, we could have an explosive civil war in a matter of days. And the international community needs to realize that easy words of let's be calm, let's be civil are not nearly enough.
What led to the current crisis precisely?
Apparently there was infighting within the Tiger Brigade, as it's called, the Presidential Guard. And it's not at all clear. In fact, the evidence would suggest this was not a premeditated firefight that occurred, but it quickly spread and it quickly took on an ethnic dimension, and it became the basis for a narrative of a political coup by Riek Machar. Just how much he knew, how much he has planned for a coup or not, remains uncertain. What I will say is that for military developments to have moved so quickly suggests to me that there may have been indeed some planning well before the events of this past weekend.
Well, there's been a great deal of discontent in the way the South Sudanese government has been running since its independence from Sudan. What kind of a support does Riek Machar have today, not just among the population and among his ethnic group, but also in the state security forces?
In the security forces, that is a very good question. We simply don't know. Some of the security forces are essentially rogue elements. There's not nearly enough central control over the various security elements. The question is, how much support does he have in the army? And the division commander of Division 8, Peter Gadet, a fearsome warrior in the civil war, has allied himself with Riek Machar. He is the commander who is moving on Juba. He is a man totally without principle. He is nothing more than a killing machine. To have allied with Riek Machar, he sees as in his interest for some reason. But he's a very, very dangerous military figure to have on the road towards Juba.
It's very worrying indeed, Mr. Reeves. As you say, if this violence escalates, then we see more tensions along ethnic lines between the Nuer and the Dinka. Do you think, could we see the North, could we see the Khartoum government of Omar al-Bashir try and exploit this situation when it comes to issues like Abyei, for instance?
I think quite distinctly that's a possibility. In fact, my greatest fear, besides the catastrophe a southern civil war would be, since it would quickly become an ethnic as well as military civil war, is that Khartoum would then have no real military deterrence to face in seizing some of the oil regions, contested areas like Kiradem in northern Bahr el Ghazal, Kafia Kingi in western Bahr el Ghazal, and the oil regions in Upper Nile. This would present an ideal opportunity for the generals who increasingly control matters in Khartoum to move southward, and in a very substantial way.
Very good to hear your thoughts, Mr. Reeves. Eric Reeves joining us there live from Massachusetts on the situation in South Sudan. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.